So today I just wanted to take a look at Lifeblood. This is a 2009 horror film, supposed thriller, I guess you could say. But for me, the plot, I really didn't expect too much from it because it really doesn't sound too interesting. You basically have two women who pass away and are resurrected 40 years later and return as vampires, but they're meant to carry out the good work. So basically what the whole premise here is that you have two women. They are basically, I guess you could say, killed by Gojira here. But one of the women is allowed the opportunity at resurrection. Supposedly this Jeebus cat tells this woman that she is a good person, she is a pure soul, and she's basically being offered the opportunity at eternal life in exchange for ridding the world of its evil. You even get this whole storyline of Noah's Ark, how the world was kind of like washed away of sin and it was kind of like a new start. So basically the whole ideology here is that this vampire woman is expected to, I guess, do some of the cleanup, which how in the world vampires wind up in this mix makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. But the film basically starts in 1969 at a New Year's Eve party. One of the women, her name is Brooke, she winds up killing a would-be rapist. As she's confessing this to her girlfriend Rhea, she accidentally hits a possum. So this woman is basically just out for blood. She's murdering people, she's murdering innocent possums. So obviously as they travel down the road, that's when this Ghibli creature kills Brooke and offers Rhea the opportunity at eternal life. Obviously she petitions the Lord with prayer. She requests that her girlfriend lady also be resurrected as well. So 40 years later, once again on New Year's Eve 2009, they reawaken. They're not wearing the same clothing that they were back in 69. They're wearing their negligees for some odd reason, but you know, they're attractive women. I'm not going to complain. But I'm assuming that was just done for, I guess you could say, sex appeal. So this Ghibli creature makes it known to Rhea that if she does bring Brooke back, this woman will basically become her cross to bear because she's basically not a good person. Obviously she feels otherwise because she is in love and she wants to have her mate with her. So obviously she is granted that, and it isn't long before Brooke basically starts screwing the pooch and killing off people that she shouldn't be. So as they're making their way, they pretty much just stop off at a convenience store, which ironically happens to be named Murder World. So they need to stay there for the day so that they can leave once again at night because they're vampires, duh. But I honestly found myself wondering, because who on earth would name a convenience store Murder World, you know? But it also kind of made me think, is this supposed to be like a loose reference to From Dusk Till Dawn? Obviously you have that really awesome opening scene at Benny's World of Liquor. It's just basically a bloodbath. And, you know, George Clooney's character, Seth, says at one point during that scene that he's going to turn the place into Benny's World of Blood. So it makes me wonder, is this like supposed to be some sort of a loose reference? I really didn't find anything confirming that, but that's pretty much what I came up with there. So obviously while they are holed up at the convenience store, the bulk of this daytime scene takes place on New Year's Day. Ta-da! But it's really not all that interesting. Obviously Brooke has her own ideas. She strangles and murders Rhea. I didn't even know a vampire could strangle another vampire to death, but apparently you can. So she's, from there on, spends the majority of the film dead and doesn't come back until an hour and 11 minutes into the film. But you've got this whole issue with this one guy working at the convenience store. So this actually happened to be Patrick Renna, and the only two films that I could think of, or, once looking back at his filmography, the only two films that I can actually pinpoint that I might have recognized him from are The Sandlot and The Big Green, which Big Green was very much a crud film to begin with. But I don't know, for some reason I just remembered his face. I'm sure I've seen him in other things growing up. I just wasn't clicking. But yes, he definitely looked very familiar, but for the most part, I guess you could say he plays a hostage well. He at one point gets bitten in the leg by the vampire Brooke as he's fleeing, but this part of the film, to me, at some point in time, it just felt a little bit draggy. You've got Brooke, who is the only remaining baddie in the film, who is threatening this convenience store guy. She obviously wants to eat him, and not in a sexy way. And then you've got this family who stops off. The wife really has to take a whiz, and they're trying to get rid of her. And she just won't take no for an answer, because when you gotta go, you gotta go. So they pretty much just get themselves tangled up in all of this mess. Obviously, their outcome isn't much different. At some point in the film, Rhea is once again resurrected by this Ghibli creature, and obviously she understands that she cannot keep Brooke. She's basically a loose cannon. She just makes a mess of everything. So obviously at this point it's already nighttime. She leaves, and honestly, I was expecting this ending sequence to be a lot more exciting. Basically, she impales her girlfriend, but I was expecting more of like an actual action scene or vampire fight, or hell, even just a cat fight. Let's see the women pull their hair and roll around on the ground and rip their clothes Dynasty style. Why not? But they did not give that to us, unfortunately, which was a total letdown. Seriously. But that pretty much just signals the end of the film. It just kind of dragged a little in the middle, and then the ending's just kind of like, we're done, bye. Honestly, the film did turn out to be a lot better than I expected, obviously, from the whole synopses of these, nights in Ghibli's service. I didn't expect too much from the film to begin with, because that just seemed kind of like a wacky premise, but they made it work for them. Obviously, the acting is decent. You've got attractive female leads. But all in all, it's really not a bad film. I wouldn't go in with high expectations, but it's not terrible. So, obviously, if you like watching holiday-themed films or things that happen on or near a holiday, I would definitely recommend taking a look at this if you want something to watch for New Year's Day. Obviously, there aren't too many films that take place on the actual New Year's Day. For some reason, it's all about New Year's Eve. But this is definitely one of those very few films that takes place on New Year's Day. And it's really not a bad watch, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. Obviously, like I said, don't go into it with high expectations, but it's a decent film. But that is all I have for you guys today, and I will talk to you later.